to our next speaker from the African Union Development Agency, representing our director, Madam Estherine Fotabo. I have Dr. Clement Ajololo, who will give the speech on her behalf. And just to emphasize that IFNA actually is working very closely with us, and we are hosting IFNA Secretariat in Johannesburg. So, Dr. Ajololo, I know you are more familiar with IFNA and you do a great job. Round of applause for Dr. Ajololo.
Thank you, moderator. So as you can see, that's not me. So I have a speech in front of me that I would like to deliver it verbatim on her behalf. But as introduced, I'm a principal program officer with AUD and EPAD. Also work closely or somehow supervise the nutrition work. So I have the honor to make the remarks on behalf of Madam Estherine Fotabo, who is the Director for Agriculture, Food Security and Environmental Sustainability. Let me start with the protocol. I have in front of me Ms. Ninako, is it Shiotuka? I'd like to, who is the Chief Representative of JACA in Rwanda office. I also have Mr. Ni Odote, Principal Planning Analyst from Ghana. I would also like to recognize Ms. Zahlia Malik Osman, who is also the Food and Nutrition Expert from the Federal Ministry from Sudan. Also, we have, I would like to recognize Mr. Matthew Muhoro, Chair, National Food and Nutrition Commission from the Republic of Zambia, who is very known to me already. We also like to recognize Ms. Tendai Gunda, Regional Representative, Anglophone Africa, Sun Movement Secretariat. Also, Ms. Nishuru Kiyoko, who is also with Chief Official for IFNA Secretariat based in our office in Johannesburg. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Allow me to then deliver the content of the speech. As I said, will be read in accordance. So it is really a pleasure for me to deliver these remarks at a very important event at this CAADP ADFNS titled Multi-sectoral Governance to Tackle Malnutrition. This gathering reflects a shared recognition that improving nutrition requires a governance-driven multi-sectoral approach which is integrated across health, agriculture, food systems, education, social protection, and other sector policies such as climate. For too long, malnutrition has been tackled in silos with fragmented efforts and limited coordination, and that has led to diminished impact. Today, as we gathered to champion a new paradigm, one where nutrition objectives are embedded into national development priorities and policies across sectors. This section builds on strong political commitment that member states has already made, and it focuses on the practical coordination models and governance intervention that have been demonstrated real progress. For AUD and NETA, we have witnessed firsthand how multi-sectoral coordination drives impact. And by example, we can reflect on the our role in co-chairing the IFNA initiative, which has been a privilege to support the journey over the past decade or so. Launched during the 2016 TCAT. I think my predecessor mentioned what TCAT is about. In collaboration with the JICA, IFNA has become a beacon of collaboration and innovation, bringing together governments, development partners, and communities to deliver real solutions that involve lives and strengthen resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 10 years, IFNA work has been anchored on three pillars, and allow me to just reflect on those three. One is on advocacy to keep nutrition central to Africa's development priorities. The second is on capacity development to strengthen regional institutions and policy frameworks. And this, I can also just add my own word to say, I have witnessed at least 2 of those regional training workshops, which were really, really insightful. The third is also field implementation to apply the nutrition strategy in practice and generate evidence for scalable and context-specific solutions. Similarly, in collaboration, we have partnered with the Sun Movement as a strategic partner in advancing nutrition governance across the continent through multi-sectoral platforms and country-led approach. The SUN has mobilized political commitment aligned with sectoral actions and strengthened accountability. Together with IFNA, the SUN have also fostered synergies that supported countries in developing the integrated policy and coordination implementation and leveraging resources for greater impact. Looking ahead, we stand at another important milestone, both for the IFNA and the SUN, that are entering into their next 5-year phase from 2026 to 2030. This renewed commitment reflects the growing global and regional momentum to scale up nutrition-sensitive development through stronger alignment. AUD and NEPA will continue to play a catalytic role in supporting the AU member states to translate this momentum into action on the ground. So therefore, this side event places strategic importance on Africa's development agenda by reflecting on the collective resolve to accelerate agri-food system transformation that is just, resilient, and nutrition sensitive, which you will also note that this is the theme of the African Union for 2025, justice for all. So the Kampala CAADP strategy and action plan, which is the start from next year 2026 to 2035, provides a bold and forward-looking framework for embedding nutrition, equity, and climate resilience into the heart of agricultural policy making and investment. AUD and NEPA stand firmly behind this vision, and we are committed to ensuring that nutrition is not just afterthought, but a central driver of our socio-economic transformation. Through the IFNA and our collaboration with the SUN movement, we have demonstrated how multi-sectoral governance has translated ambition into action. By aligning national policies with the CAADP principles and leveraging multi-stakeholder platform, we have supported countries to break silos, mobilize resources, and deliver integrated solutions. This is not just a technical coordination, it is also a political leadership. It is also about building systems that work for people, especially the most vulnerable. Ladies and gentlemen, the AUD and NEPA will continue to advance implementation or complementary initiatives such as the homegrown school feeding, and the Youth for Nutrition, which links smallholder farmers and farmers to nutritious diet and empower young Africans to champion traditional foods, healthy eating. These programs exemplify how multi-sectoral governance can deliver sustainable, inclusive food systems that is aligned to the Africa's broader transformational agenda, including the Kampala strategy. The challenges we face, colleagues, are fragmentation in our planning, weak incentives for collaboration, and insufficient investment and readiness. These are formidable challenges that require formidable action. By deepening our coordination and strengthening leadership and sharing lessons from successful country experiences, we can accelerate progress towards a food-secure, nutrition-sensitive Africa. In closing, the AUD and NEPAD reaffirms its commitment to this vital partnership with JICA, SAN, and all other partners on this particular matter. Let us continue to work together so Africa, especially women, children, and can have access to nutritious, affordable food. Together, we will build a resilient and prosperous Africa envisioned in the Agenda 2063. With that, I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful speech. Indeed, ADFNS is the home for IFNA. As he had mentioned in his speech, we have been able to actually build capacity in so many countries. I think right now we have trained over 35 countries in Africa. IFNA has already expanded in Africa, and we're still planning to train more. I think next month we'll be training, having the similar training on capacity building and multi-sectoral approach in tackling nutrition in the North African member states. So IFNA indeed is actually strengthening issues around nutrition and food systems in our country and a continent, and we appreciate the collaboration that we have with JICA. Without further ado, let me go to the second session where we'll be having 4 panelists that will be coming to share some country experiences in what they're actually doing in their country in terms of multi-sectoral approach, how they've actually been addressing issues of nutrition and food security in their countries, and also working with SAN movement. And most of them, I think all of them are SAN country focal points, and except my colleague Kyoko, coming from IFNA. So I'll start with Ghana. Mr. Ni Odote. I don't know if I pronounced it, maybe I butchered it, but I'll say Mr. Ni. Mr. Ni is the principal planning analyst coming from the National Development Planning Commission of Ghana, and he is the San focal point of Ghana. Then my second panelist is Miss Zara Maliki Osman. Zara Maliki Osman. I won't pronounce the last name. She's from Sudan, and she's also the San focal point of Sudan, and she's the food and nutrition expert from the Ministry of Health in Sudan. So welcome, Miss Zara. Then I'll move to Zambia, our neighboring country, the one and only Matthews Uhuru. Did I Uhuru? Matthews, I've been working with you in so many years, and I know you are such a driver when it comes to nutrition in Zambia. Matthew is from the Zambia Food and Nutrition Commission, and we also have been doing a lot of work with the Zambia Nutrition Council, and he's also the San focal point from Zambia. Lastly, we have Chief of IFNA, Ms. Kyoko. He is the one actually in charge of IFNA Secretariat in ADNF part, and she's also my colleague. Please give them a round of applause. Okay, I think we'll start to hear from Ghana. So, Mr. Ni, tell us the story of Ghana. Over to you.
So good afternoon, everyone. So today I have the privilege of sharing Ghana's experience when it comes to multi-sectoral nutrition governance. Are the slides ready, please? Oh, I should just press? Oh, okay, great. So let me start this story. Let me start this story with when the Sun Movement was created. One of the three things that the Sun Movement asked us to do was to apply the 3-1s principle. And the 3-1s principle was that there should be one coordinating institution or platform, that there should be one overall or overriding policy, and one common results framework or MND framework. And so to create that first thing, which was the multi-sectoral platform, many countries had to think through how they were going to do this. And they were often encouraged to use country systems. Fortunately for Ghana, in our constitution, we had already created what was known as a decentralized planning system. Okay, so we have 3 main levels of governance. We have the national level, then we have which is made up of the sectors, and then we have the regional level, which in some countries is the equivalent of a province, or in the case of Japan, prefecture. And then we had at the lowest level, the district assemblies, okay, which in some countries are municipalities or the equivalent. And all of these are planning authorities in their own right. So we thought to ourselves that the best way to actually manage this new Sun movement in country was to take advantage of the law that set up this decentralized planning system. Another advantage of that law was that it created what is known as the National Development Planning Commission. And I think as I was being introduced, you saw that I work at this National Development Planning Commission. This is an overarching agency created by the Constitution, one of just 3 agencies actually mentioned by the Constitution. And the main aim of that agency is to advise the President on planning strategy issues that have to do with development. Anything that is development focused, National Development Planning Commission has the right to coordinate these institutions or these issues. Now, anything that is cross-cutting in nature, NDPC has to set up what are known as cross-sectoral planning groups. So this was an already existing structure. It's been in place since 1992. And since we were now joining the Sun movement, and that was in 2012, we thought to ourselves that the best thing to do would be to take advantage of this hierarchy of planning or this decentralized planning system. And so you'll notice that this is the system in existence. We have the National Development Planning Commission right at the top. We call it a supra-ministerial agency. We are above all the ministries, and we have the power to convene and to coordinate everybody. And so basically we are the apex planning authority. We are responsible for coordinating national development planning system, and we work through what are known as the cross-sectoral planning groups. The next level are the ministries, departments, and agencies. And these are responsible for formulating, monitoring, and evaluating policies. Of course, they work through their sector departments and agencies, and they also implement and monitor their various programs. And of course, the main department that is responsible for coordinating planning is at the ministry level is known as the Policy Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation Division. Then further down, we have the RCCs, that's the Regional Coordinating Councils. And these are basically replicas of the national government at the decentralized level. And they coordinate, harmonize, monitor, and evaluate the development plans of the district assemblies that are at the lower level. So they make sure that everything that is prioritized at the national level, it feeds or trickles down to the lower levels. And then the district assemblies, the district planning authorities, are responsible mainly for implementing the various policies and strategies that are set at the national level. Of course, by the Constitution, there is a lower level than the district assemblies, and these are often referred to as area, town, and zonal councils. These are not, however, very functional, even though we do vote for assemblymen who manage these councils. They don't have, most of them don't have offices, and they don't actually have budgets to help them do their work. So the district assembly level has to work with these communities or these towns to be able to carry out their various functions. So how exactly did we translate this system into a nutrition governance system? Well, this is a very rough schematic of what we ended up doing. Adopting the same hierarchy, we basically have at the national level I would say at a very high political level, the idea was to create, under the office of the president, a specific focal person who would run or manage this whole nutrition agenda. Ideally, it should have been the president, but the discussions that we initially had, it looked like we were going to get the chief of staff to run this. So we joined in 2012. Ghana had an election 2012, and there was a new, same party, but a new government, new president who came in. Discussions carried on, and we never actually set that up. So this whole first line of having somebody at the very highest level of government managing, at least at the political level, to manage the food system, the nutrition agenda, hasn't yet happened. But we have been engaging with the chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, which I'll come to just now, often sits in cabinet meetings. So remember I said that NDPC is the agency responsible for advising the president. So even though we couldn't get the president or somebody senior in cabinet, the chairman of NDPC sits in cabinet. He doesn't have decision-making power, but he advises government on various things. What we have also done is take advantage of parliament. So NDPC, once again, not only advises president, but we also advise parliament. Within parliament, we've taken advantage of some of the parliamentary committees. So these are the Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, the Health Committees, and we even had at one point a caucus known as the Parliamentarians Against Hunger and Malnutrition. But more specifically, coming to the actual structures that exist. So we start off with the National Development Planning Commission. Under the Development Policy Division, where I work, we've created the Cross-Sectoral Planning Group for Nutrition. So when we started off the Sun Movement, it was known as the Cross-Sectoral Planning Group for Nutrition. I'll discuss how we ended up changing the name a little bit. So below that, we have initiated committees at the regional level. Now, by law, there are specific committees. The Local Governance Act it's been revised a number of times. The most current one is 2016. There are specific committees that are set up for various development issues, whether it is on decentralization, or it's on water, or it's on the economy. There wasn't one specifically on food, agriculture, on nutrition, but there is one on social development issues. And so we've had discussions with them that whenever they're discussing various social development issues, they should discuss nutrition issues. We had support from World Food Program and the USAID to set up 3 of these ad hoc committees, which we are allowed to do by the law, in the 3 northern regions at the time, and then we had a new restructuring of our regions. So we had 10 initially, now we have 16. So USAID in 2021 helped us to set up 4 of these in the 4 of the northern regions of Ghana. We haven't been able to do it for the other regions. And then the final level is the district assemblies. And this is done through the district planning coordinating units. And we've also been able to set up 17 of these committees in 17 district assemblies. And we have 261 district assemblies. So at the national level, all the structures are set up. At the regional level, it is partially set up. At the district assembly level, we don't even have 10% of the structures that we have. But we do issue guidelines, especially planning guidelines, and instructing them to consider nutrition within their plans. So formally, the structures are not decentralized, but on paper, we know what we have to do. We still have a lot of work to do in this regard. So just to explain how at the national level this cross-sectoral planning group works. So initially, as I said, it was known as the Nutrition Cross-Sectoral Planning Group, obviously because of the scaling up nutrition movement that we had joined. It, however, evolved in 2018 to the Food and Nutrition Security Cross-Sectoral Planning Group, because there was a recognition that it was pointless for us to work in two different streams, doing work on food security on one angle and then nutrition on another. In Ghana, we realized that it was important that these two issues needed to speak together. So we merged the issues and we created the Food and Nutrition Security Cross-Sectoral Planning Group. Well, we evolved the name. And this is long before the Food System Summit. After the Food System Summit of 2021, and realizing that there was this new, more comprehensive approach, we then changed the name to Food Systems Transformation and Nutrition Security Cross-Sectoral Planning Group. And basically, this cross-sectoral planning group, it is set out to support and promote joint planning and implementation across all the stakeholders and sectors. It's also responsible for coordinating policy formulation. It also supports integration of food systems and nutrition in national, sectoral, regional, and district plans, and also undertakes M&D studies and reports. I believe my time is almost up. Within the CSPG, we also have, so the various stakeholders are there. We've been very deliberate. I have Madam Rose Omari. She used to attend a lot of our meetings. We have development partners, academia, research institution, business agencies, and civil society organizations. And these come from various sectors: the health, agriculture, WASH, education, social protection, environment, trade, local government, youth, and gender. And we do recognize that there are other complementary platforms in the country. So we have something known as NanoPack, and this is more of a health sector nutrition platform, specifically to manage the implementation of nutrition-specific activities. I'll just quickly run through some of our achievements. So we have a national nutrition policy of 2016. We have complementary policies such as the planting for, it was the planting food and jobs, food safety policy, which Madam Rose Omari was a part of, aflatoxin policy, again, she led that. School feeding program policy, I don't know if my colleague Esther is around. We even had a program known as the Girls Iron Folic Tablet Supplementation. We are currently doing these policies: food composition table, front of pack labeling policy, food marketing regulations policy, public food procurement and service policy, food-related fiscal policies. 2023, we produced a food-based dietary guidelines, and we also did a planning toolkit to support planning at all levels. I will skip this and just leave this on the screen. These are some of the challenges. So, Kefiwe, thank you very much.
He's so energized, he doesn't want to stop. There's so much to learn from Ghana. And Esther is there, the school feeding guru. Oh, yeah. So I believe I remember when I was working for NEPAD in 2011, one of the active countries in SAN was Ghana, and also active in CAADP as well. So I really learned a lot from Ghana. I'm not surprised of what you presented. I know there's quite a lot, but the systems are working, decentralized system, I think it's lessons that we can all learn from. So now I'm going to be very, very strict because of him. So we need to stick to time now, 10 minutes, okay? So I'm going to call my sister from Sudan to also share some experiences and insights. Yeah? 10 minutes, my sister. Zara. Yes.
Okay, so Matthew was tall and Fifi's short. Hello everyone, my name is Zahra Malik. It's a great honor for me to be here today on behalf of Sudan. I'm representing the Sun Focal Point from Sudan. I'm working at the Federal Ministry of Health. So it's a great honor to join AUDA and NEPAD today. Today I speak to you from a country that is a resilient and fragile nation struggling under conflict and one of the largest humanitarian crises in the world. So in Sudan, we've endured decades of fragility, but the outbreak of the conflict in 2023 has plunged the country into an unprecedented state of emergency. Yeah, please. Oh, no, it's okay, I'm still speaking. Oh, yeah, I'm still speaking. It's leaving this one. Okay. So this ongoing conflict that's in Sudan has displaced millions and destroyed infrastructure and disrupted the health system. The scale of displacement is staggering. So by early 2024, some 9 million people had been forced out of their homes, and 3 million people had fled Sudan entirely. By the midst of 2025, these numbers had risen to over 11 million internally displaced, and nearly 4 million refugees scattered across neighboring countries. In a nation of approximately 48 million, this means nearly 1 in every 4 Sudanese people is displaced. Areas in Darfur, Kurdistan, and parts of Khartoum have reached IPC 5, which is a catastrophe famine level at an alarming stage. El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur City, has been under siege for over 600 days, and a few days ago, it was entirely taken over. Nearly 2,000 people were killed in 2 days. So before I speak about the overview of the multi-sectorality that we have undertaken in our experience in Sudan, I would like to give you an overview of the nutrition situation in Sudan. Before the conflict, we were already struggling with high rates of malnutrition. Approximately 3 million children under the age of 5 were acutely malnourished. And about several localities already above 15% of the global acute malnutrition. Since the war began, these numbers have worsened. More than 3.6 million children are now acutely malnourished, leaving over 730,000 suffering from severe acute malnutrition. So this is a big number, and the deterioration is stark. Conflict-induced populations are acutely malnourished, and displacement. We have disrupted food systems and restricted humanitarian access. This all has accelerated Sudan's descent from chronic malnutrition into a full-scale nutrition emergency compared to pre-war conditions. This situation has become catastrophic. So I'd like to speak about our journey in multi-sectoral governance in Sudan. In Sudan, the government has demonstrated a strong commitment in this vision, recognizing that multi-sectoral governance is the key to unlocking progress. Sudan upholds its commitment to strengthening multi-sectoral collaboration to tackle malnutrition. Since before the war and the conflict, we have joined the Sun Movement in 2015, aiming to combat high levels of malnutrition through a multi-sectoral approach. We've developed multi-sectoral governance approach to address the persistent changes of malnutrition. We're recognizing that nutrition is not only a health issue, it's a shared responsibility across multiple sectors. So under the leadership of the Federal Ministry of Health, we've established the Sun Movement. We began to establish a national multi-sectorial plan. We have engaged ministries, including agriculture, education, social protection, finance, along with UN agencies, civil society, private sectors, and other donor entities. We have developed a governance framework that promotes coordination through multi-sectoral platforms, ensuring joint accountability, planning, alignment, and action towards common nutrition goals. This approach strengthened policy coherence, mobilized resources, and integrated nutrition objectives into agriculture, WASH, social protection programs. We're even going into justice and finance at the moment. So we have some enabling factors that contributed to successful multi-sectoral governance in Sudan. And the first one is that we have strengthened national coordination mechanisms. So we've done this by we've established committees. Sudan established and operationalized high-level national and interministerial committee, which includes ministers, federal ministers from all related ministries that have an impact with nutrition. It also includes representatives from UN agencies, civil society, academia, and the private sector. This serves as the Sun Movement's multi-sectoral platform in Sudan. The second thing, we have developed a national multi-sectoral plan. This was done under the leadership of the Federal Ministry of Health with technical support from UN agencies. This plan, it aligns with the N4G commitments and integrates nutrition objectives across all sectors related to nutrition. So we have the coordination, sorry, I think I skipped one, the third one, yeah. And then we also have activated all the Sun networks. All the 5 Sun networks are currently active in Sudan. So we have the UN Nutrition, Civil Society, the Donor, the Business, and the Research and Academia Network. are all active, and they're collaborating to support nutrition and policy and advocacy. So let's talk about the coordination mechanisms in Sudan. So we've adopted a multi-sectoral governance approach to address the persistent challenges of malnutrition. As I mentioned, nutrition is not solely the issue of only health. It is the issue of many other sectors. We're working closely with Ministry of Agriculture, Education, Social Protection, and Finance, and we built strong multi-sectoral platforms that bring together the government with the UN agencies, civil societies, private sector, and donors. So through this collaboration, we integrated all these sectors, and this deepens Sudan's commitment towards nutrition for growth commitments. Not only them, even the World Health Assembly targets are all being put in place when we are discussing policies, strategies, or advocacies. This is the Sun governance framework in Sudan. So it is chaired by the Prime Minister. Below that is the Sun Interministerial Committee. It's chaired by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, and the co-chair is on rotation. The Interministerial Committee includes all the ministers in relevant line ministries. Underneath that, we have the Sun Steering Committee. This is led by the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Health is the chair, and Ministry of Agriculture is the co-chair. This committee includes all relevant line, the undersecretaries of all relevant line ministries. Underneath that, we have the Sun TAG. This is the Technical Advisory Group for the Sun Movement. It is chaired by the PHC Director in the Federal Ministry of Health, and it is coordinated by myself, the Sun Coordinator. And in it, we have all the technical personnel that are working in all the relevant line ministries, and they serve as our focal points. Underneath that, we have all the 5 Sun networks. Underneath that, we go into the state level implementation, and after that to locality level. To be honest, we still have not been able to go into the state level and locality level, but hopefully we will be going into that soon. So one of the things I mentioned that we were doing is the development of the multi-sectoral plan. This initiative started in 2022, right before the war. We had good support from UN agencies, and as I mentioned, all the rest of the government, the donors, the civil society members, they were all there, but the process stopped because of the war in 2023. But in March 2025, we decided to pick up and we resumed the process and to finalize these efforts to determine, just to reaffirm the government's determination in multi-sectoral governance. Okay, so Sudan's National Multi-Sectoral Plan is a 10-year plan. We are aiming to go from 2026 to 2023 to 2035. This is 10 years. It's a decade-long roadmap. It aligns ministries, partners, communities around common goals and measurable results. So I think there's just one slide that they forgot to add, which is the bottlenecks. We are having bottlenecks in the multi-sectoral governance in Sudan. So there are not really many challenges, but basically the basic challenge that we're having right now is the war that we're having. There's also the issue of accountability, and I guess this is our biggest issue for the time being. So these collective approaches that we're dealing with in Sudan right now, it reflects what multi-governance truly means, and it's not just a coordination across institutes, but it's shared accountability and joint ownership for nutrition outcomes. It's also ensuring that agriculture supports diverse nutrition foods, health systems are delivering essential care, education systems are promoting healthy diets, and social protection programs meet needs of Sudan's experience, carrying broader messages. So I really hope, although the situation in Sudan is extremely challenging at the time being, but as a government, we're determined to call for multi-sectoral governance and begin implementation of our multi-sectoral plan along with the coordinating mechanisms. Is it time? Okay. We have full commitment from the cabinet, and we're working tirelessly to ensure that multi-sectoral governance to tackle malnutrition is reaching the communities and saving the lives of women and children across the country. Thank you.
You know, Zara, I mean, I was becoming emotional when you were presenting, but I like the passion that you have about pushing for nutrition despite these major challenges that you are facing in Sudan. And just to tell a story that with IFNA Secretariat, Sudan, when IFNA started in 2016, Sudan is actually one of our focus countries, and I've been to Khartoum. I don't know what you call it now because I have you changed the name Khartoum. Pardon? It's still Khartoum. Okay, Khartoum. So we've been to Khartoum, and we still have interest as IFNA and ADFNS to support Khartoum and Sudan, and also Sun Movement. For them also encouraging you, motivating you. Amazing work that they're doing in nutrition is quite really encouraging and motivating. And we'd like to hear such stories, and I just want to encourage you that we are here for you as the AU and the partners that are here today. So let me call, Zambia. Let me jump to Zambia now. From Sudan to Zambia. Zambia, what can you tell us?
Please encourage me. Clap for me. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Matthews Muru from Zambia. Yes, so I'm not the chair for my commission. I used to be, but yes, they fired me and hired me to work in management so that we provide the technical support that the country needed. So thank you for the opportunity to share some lessons from Zambia. Of course, I wanted to start my introduction by just indicating that to address the food and nutrition challenges in our country, the country has put in place various measures that focuses on a well-nourished and a healthy population by 2030. And just to indicate that we're taking all forms of malnutrition in our approach, because we've learned from other countries that sometimes when you put so much efforts in addressing undernutrition, before you know it, you'll be dealing with other forms of malnutrition, non-communicable diseases. So addressing everything and not leaving out anything is really key. Life cycle approach, definitely. You're looking at different vulnerabilities and ensuring that you have interventions that will definitely address all of those. Taking a systems approach, and also just having a strong government leadership and coordination for us is a key approach that we are taking. And then lastly, engaging PPPs in our approach. So let me start from the beginning. For us as Zambia, I think one of the key lessons is that a key enabler for addressing issues of food and nutrition has to start from the law. So if it begins and you address, you have legislation in place that help us just frame up the nutrition agenda, it's very, very helpful. So we have a Food and Nutrition Act number 3 of 2020 that is helping us. And with this particular act, it places coordination of food and nutrition activities in the Vice President's office. It's really important. You need the political leadership in a country. You need that country ownership. And I must mention that sometimes when we go to brief the Vice President on things that she knows we indicated we are going to do and those actions are not done, she holds us accountable. So you have to be scratching your head and you're like, okay, we wish we did this, so that we bring a positive report. So we need that so that we are kept in check as the technical people that are running with the nutrition agenda, but also as we push for an enabling environment within government to just push the food and nutrition agenda. And then this particular act for us helps us to establish the coordination structures from national level all the way to community level. So let me demonstrate what I mean. So our current structure looks like this. The highest structure, which is the National Nutrition Coordinating Committee. This committee is chaired by the Secretary to Cabinet, and of course the Secretary to Cabinet is the boss of all permanent secretaries that are running different ministries. So when we have such a committee being chaired by the Secretary to Cabinet, and if he buys into the food and nutrition agenda, it becomes easier for him to look out for food and nutrition related points that he would want to see. With a new food and nutrition policy, where there's actually a proposal that we have a ministerial committee, but of course I think what we've seen the National Nutrition Coordinating Committee do, and just the transformation that we've seen, is very, very encouraging. I'll share some lessons as we proceed. And then with this piece, you would notice that after this, we have the national multi-sectoral platforms where you have, the different SUN networks and the government networks coming together to plan, to discuss, and execute the nutrition interventions. And below that, you would have now sub-national structures from the province, the district, the ward, and the community level. So with this particular structure, it helps us to speak the same language from national level all the way to the community. We want, convergence of different actions that the different sectors have to provide. We want all these interventions to converge at household level. We don't want the WASH team to go serve the same community, go back again, you have another sector, go and serve the same community with another intervention and go back. You realize that you'd have wasted a lot of money and it becomes very, expensive. But when we have coordination structures like this, the teams that are trying to serve the same community can move in together, and deliver as one. So that is key for us, and it is helping us to, to just push the nutrition the food and nutrition agenda in the country. Like I was indicating, I think I've mentioned about the national, the province, as well as also the district. So we have 10 provinces in Zambia, so we have 10 provincial nutrition coordinating committees, and also we have about 118 districts, if I'm not mistaken, and we have all those coordinating committees also in place. Beyond that, now you come to the policies. Next week we'll be validating our food and nutrition policy of 2025, so very excited. We've formulated it, implementation plans also, in place. So with this particular process, we are taking a whole government approach. So we are not just selecting 4 or 5 ministries as we are doing our work, but we are taking every other ministry that should be involved. Let me give an example. Sometimes you not think of the Ministry of Mines as a key, partner when you are delivering, nutrition interventions. You forget that, the contaminations, the spillage, and all these other things would affect the food systems. So the more you leave them out, the more you need them in future, but the damage would have already been done. Another example would be the Ministry of Transport, like I always indicate. You need the transport sector to provide a conducive environment of how food is transported, how the fortification, if you are running a fortification program in your country, how you protect, all those products that would need certain conditions to be moving, and other ministries as well. So for us, taking a whole government approach is helping us currently. So beyond just the national food and nutrition policy, we also, not really attempt, but I should say, we also make sure that the other sector specific policies accommodate nutrition. And the good example that I can just give now is the Social Protection Policy 2025. So if you see, Mr. Nee, do you mind just moving your leg? So if you see the second policy objective of the social protection policy in Zambia, it says to strengthen provision of nutrition-sensitive social protection. And when you're in policy development, the hierarchy of how you're placing your policy objectives also shows how you're placing your priority. So if our social protection, sector places the nutrition objective as number 2, it already shows you that they have, bought into the nutrition agenda and they're prioritizing nutrition. There are other, sectors that are doing the same. We are making sure that, because, we have structures that are helping us to move together, to interact, policies that are from other sectors accommodate nutrition so that it becomes easier for them to implement and to be accountable for all the actions that they have to contribute to the bigger nutrition picture in the country. And then a second example that I wanted to give is that when you have structures that are, well defined, and you have top leadership and, good government, involvement at top level, you have things like this. So this was the budget cost circular. When we were developing the budget for 2026, this is next year's budget. Our engagement with Cabinet Office, our engagement with the other sectors as well, gave birth to this particular budget core circular. So this is the Secretary to the Treasury giving instructions to all government ministries, reminding them that the Office of the Vice President is coordinating nutrition actions. Therefore, the instructions number 1 and number 2 says create a dedicated budget line for nutrition sensitive and nutrition specific interventions. And then the second one is explain how these, just the narrative of how the food and nutrition mainstreaming is happening in your sector. So every ministry that is budgeting for nutrition will think twice. They'll be like, okay, if we don't have these lines that we've already received instructions from the Secretary to the Treasury and Ministry of Finance, then our budget might not be approved. We might be asked to go back and redo the work. So they definitely now come to the Commission, they come to other structures that are coordinating the food and nutrition agenda in the country to seek for clarity or support in them, ensuring that they mainstream the food and nutrition agenda in their various sectors. So for us, I think this is a plus. Going forward, seeing all these actions that we've put in place, it's helping us to just ensure that, the government leadership, the government push for food and nutrition in the country is strong enough, and we are also allocating domestic financing to nutrition in the space that we are in now, where also just, the donor support for nutrition is really diminishing. So all these actions that I've indicated are helping us to just push the nutrition agenda. And it's expected that obviously with the policies and all the programs that we've put in place, Zambia is on the right track to meet its nutrition objectives and goals and targets. Zikomo kwambiri.
Thank you, Chair. You said you were Chair. Thank you, Chair Matthew. I think we needed the whole day to actually address these issues because there's so much interest from the countries. But I noticed something, Matthew. When you saw Mr. Victor, you changed the whole setup of a presentation because you want to impress your elderly here present. Say, we acknowledge you, thanks for joining us, but so much, so much amazing work that Zambia is doing in terms of multi-sectoral approach. I think I like the fact that you also, engage private sector for nutrition. This is quite very important as well. And the fact that you have policies in place. And I've been to Zambia several times. I've seen the way they work. They really have a coordinated approach in terms of managing nutrition and other related sectors such as food systems as well. And the fact that there is financial budget, I think this is what also we are pushing for. Nutrition financing and food systems is also key, is critical. Let me now welcome the last panelist. I know maybe you are eager to ask questions. Please hold on. We're going to have a Q&A session, so you can write your questions down and then you have a chance to speak. I'm going to welcome my colleague Kyoko, who is the chief of IFNA, will give some key insights on IFNA achievements so far and reflect on how these experiences from the member states actually contributing to the implementation of IFNA going forward. So IFNA chief.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So it's a great honor to have this opportunity to speak today. Given that all the panelists share their effort in their country, I should have present to our effort in Japan. But this time, let me concentrate our engagement on behalf of IFNA Secretariat. My dearest colleague, Dr. Clement, has already touched on many things, so I try to keep briefly about what we have done so far. So since the launch of IFNA in 2016, we have worked very closely with African government, the regional economic communities, and the development partners, including some movement, to strengthen the nutrition improvement through advocating the multi-sectoral cooperation. After expanding our focus to the whole continent in Africa, our focus is mainly 3 pillars: advocacy, capacity development, and field implementation. So today, I would like to share some key achievements through the Pillar 1, Pillar 2, and Pillar 3, which have supported multi-sectoral cooperation and knowledge sharing among countries. First, in terms of capacity development, IFNA launched its regional training program in 2023, bringing together more than 150 government officials from across Africa. So these trainings have provided a valuable opportunity for government officials and practitioners from agriculture, health, and nutrition coordination entities to exchange their experiences and discuss how to strengthen coordination mechanisms for nutrition. Through these peer-to-peer exchanges, participants have built lasting professional networks that help them to continue promoting collaboration beyond their respective ministries and sectors. Secondly, IFNA has also supported a country-level pilot project which demonstrates how multi-sectoral collaboration can be put into practice. For instance, one of our projects in Ghana, agriculture extension officers and public community health workers jointly work together to implement the community garden and nutrition education to the women and pregnant women under the coordination of both Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Health. Such initiatives have provided the concrete example of how collaboration across sectors can lead to more integrated and sustainable nutrition actions at the community level. IFNA also places a great emphasis on knowledge sharing and learning across countries. To consolidate and disseminate the lessons learned from our activities over the past 10 decades, IFNA recently developed its 10-year report, which documents key achievements, good practice, and insight gained through collaboration among countries, as well as regional economic communities and development partners. This report serves as an important regional knowledge resources that support the further implementation in Africa. So building on these exercises, IFNA is now moving into its next phase until 2030, focusing on consolidating the achievement made so far and the deepening partnership of African government, regional economic communities, as well as development partners, including some movement, to strengthen the collaboration and cooperation beyond ministries and sectors. So we are fully committed to continuing this journey together with all partners towards sustainable and inclusive nutrition improvement in Africa. Thank you very much for your attention.
Round of applause for my colleague, Kiyoko. IFNA has been doing amazing things on the ground, and one thing I like about IFNA is that it's really country-owned initiative. She has been showcasing the work that they've been doing on the ground, and the fact that they have now have, I think you launched the IFNA 10-year report during CAADP in Japan in August. So if you want to read more, to know more about IFNA, the report is available in both English and French. So without that ado, I'd like to now open for Q&A sessions. We'll probably have 3 questions I know a lot has been said so far, but I'm sure you have very interesting questions and comments that we can get from the floor. But I would like to start with the Rwanda focal point, Mr. Munyamana. Did I say correct? You are the host, so we start with the hosts. So any, reaction, comments, what have you learned from these 3 countries and the IFNA approach in terms of addressing nutrition and food security? Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thanks everyone. As she said, we are the host, but our welcome remarks have been done with our cross-collaborator, Minako, and we really appreciate also what we learned from colleagues in different countries, and with a special compassion with Sudanese colleagues that who are doing well even during the wartime. And as you said, maybe colleagues, focal points did not know about me because there was another one previously. My colleague Agnes, who is no longer with us, but as working as at the National Child Development Agency, but also being the Deputy Director General, we really take up the role, and would like to say that Sun movements in Rwanda are functional, like in all other countries. We recently reactivated 2 networks, which are the Sun Business, but also the Sun Academia. So we are fully functional, and there's a lot have been shared by colleagues on the multi-sectoral approach that also we are doing in Rwanda. I would like to add a few things. The first, my colleague Minako talked about, it's in Rwanda, nutrition, mainly fighting against starving, is among the 5 priorities in the 5 years. I mean, we have a lot of priorities, but that is a sign of a political will and engagement. And from that to Alive There, we have been putting together what my colleagues, Mr. Ni from Ghana said on putting an agency. The National Child Development Agency, the agency I'm working for, actually have been put in place to to coordinate all the activities related, for children, but with a special focus on maternal and child nutrition. So this have been a very huge one, and this have helped actually to push some of different initiatives. There is one that I wanted also to share on the nutrition budget mainstreaming. I think Zambia talked about it. In 2022, our line ministry, the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, and the Ministry of Finance have put in place a ministerial instruction that goes to all CBMs. CBMs are the chief budget manager in all institutions, that they have to tag all the nutrition activities and the budget in planning, but also when they are reporting. So every year we have a report which can track both what was planned, but also what have been used. Another thing, so that is very important, because when we talk about the multi-sectoral, it's not only putting the structure, but also putting the means and tackling on the finance. Another thing, it's also about the implementation. In Rwanda, we have what we call Imihigo. It's performance contracts with all the districts, with our presidents, and actually with all other leaders. Is that in Imihigo, the nutrition indicators are given to all local leaders, which is evaluated every year to make sure that you are reaching the target that you are going to have in 5 years. Actually, the targets are set according to what we have in 5 years. And another thing that I would like to say, it's more on the staffing. The staffing we have been putting in place, people, the ECD focal point, those are early childhood development focal points, who are looking also on the nutrition. But also we have been tapping on the community-based nutrition programs. in Rwanda, maybe to share also with colleagues, the community-based programs have been very more successful. For example, the community health workers at the level of the village, because Rwanda, on the card, you may look, it's comparatively small, but big in the structure, because these community health workers, the friends of family, are in each village, and we have more than 14,000 villages. So we have those volunteers who can go house to house to check on the nutrition status, but working together. We normally now in Rwanda have 4 types of those frontliners: the community health workers, friends of family for child protection, farmer promoters who are really leading on the nutrition, and the parasocial workers on the graduation for the poverty. All those comes in to ensure that the multi-sector approach can really work well. And finally, I know we're learning after time, it's the innovation part, the piloting, and the evidence. Actually, we recently learned something that maybe I would like to share from the medical colleagues, the pyrotitis. It's a disease of having pilots, but we don't scale up. So now we've been really working a lot on making sure all the evidences that we're having, we really need to look at scale up, at a national level. So there is a peer-to-peer learning among districts, but also the districts having the district plan to eliminate malnutrition. We ensure also come together. If something works well in this district, we look at it. If we know that MMS or multiple macronutrient supplements have been working well, we pilot it shortly, we scale it up. This is actually a fact that have been scaled up in the whole country. So those are a few examples, but I think next time when we are not the host, maybe we will be also preparing the presentation, but also we're very happy to be part of the network, and IFNA have been also very helpful to Rwanda. Some of the colleagues from our office have been going there, to share, but also to learn. And the same with JICA, we have, as Minako said, the TA on the policy advisory. Oh, the policy also in Rwanda have been approved in 2024. And now it's not only the nutrition policy, it's family and nutrition policy. Because we realize that everything also starts in family. So just thank you, moderator, for the time. Welcome again. Enjoy Rwanda, and we stay together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I wasn't aware that you'll be also making a presentation. However, we welcome that. We have learned a lot that your approach as nutrition is really community-based, and the fact that also you have developed a policy on nutrition, that's quite commendable. So thank you for sharing such wonderful stories of nutrition. Let me also acknowledge the presence of our director, Ms. Agrifood from the African Union Development Agency. She's also coordinating IFNA. As I mentioned, IFNA is an initiative between JICA and AUDA. Madam, if you would like to intervene, you can let us know, but if it's okay, then we can continue with the program. Thank you, and thanks for joining us. We really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, I see a hand at the back. Another hand? Okay, 2 hands. So let me start with the gentleman in the back, and then, yeah, I recognize your hand. Just make it short and succinct.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Professor Madi Cissé from Senegal, President of the African Nutrition Society. Just regarding your sun plan, I want to know if you are, what is the place of the consumer organization? And did you have strategies to achieve children who is the most vulnerable in our country? Thank you.
Sir, which the questions addressed to which panelist?
I think
everyone?
It's for all.
Okay, thank you so much. You got the question, right? Next question, the lady in green. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm called Esther. I'm from a healthy gender sector. I would like to commend all the work that is being done in addressing malnutrition, especially among children and pregnant mothers. But I would like to ask about tackling the preventive, investing in preventive approaches like enough food production, like especially with the rural farmers that have no market. Also reducing the waste of food along the chain, but also food conservation and transformation, especially for dry seasons where we have a lot of, where we experience high malnutrition rates because there is no food and there is no fortified food around which is also affordable for these families. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those two wonderful questions. I think let the panelists tackle question one from the gentleman from Senegal, and then we'll move to the second question. So I don't know who wants to go first. Panelist? Can I have a microphone? Yeah, okay, with you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll probably attempt to answer both partially and leave it to my colleagues to answer the rest. So in terms of involvement of consumer organizations, it's very key because they become, the voices of the communities. They're the ones that would also help us to flag food safety issues and other challenges that, the consumers are supposed to be, looking out for. For us, like I indicated, we're taking a whole government approach. So even, as government is, moving together, we are bringing all partners that, have a role to play, including the consumer organization. So we have the consumer protection organization within the country that also participates in our engagement. But also maybe dealing with issues of food waste, food loss, and conservation and the like. We explicitly have that in our strategies because, it's unacceptable that most African countries, the issues of food waste, but also food loss are very high when our countries are still hungry and we are still grappling with high rates of malnutrition. So with our food systems approach, food waste and food loss are interventions that we've deliberately put in place, and we are looking at, achieving almost zero waste, if at all that is achievable. But yes, we've put structures and interventions that are helping us to achieve that. And just a lot of engagement also with consumers, because sometimes, with food waste, it's people saving, beyond what they can eat, and the rest end up in the bins, which should not really be the case. So that being pushed as part of the national values, as part of the family values, becomes very important, because as the children grow, then they pass on, such kind of information to the next generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another panelist, do you want to say something, Sarah? Okay, let me pass to Ghana. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So on the consumer agencies, or those that are protecting consumer rights, we have, as part of our civil society organizations that are part of the Sun movement, the Civil Protection Agency deals or is part of them. And so a lot of the stakeholders who come for our meetings from the CSOs often bring up these issues, to the extent that I don't know if you saw my presentation. One of the policies we are working on is the food marketing regulations policy and also the front of pack labeling policy. The call for those policies came directly from such civil society organizations. So they are definitely keeping us on our toes and assisting us. Similar to what Matthew said with regards to the preservation of food, reducing food post-harvest losses especially. The previous government did quite a lot of work when it came to building. We had a program called One District, One Warehouse. So as I mentioned, we have 261 districts, and they were targeting to build a warehouse to store food, predominantly grains and cereals. I think they ended up building about 110, in addition to the existing warehouses that already existed. Of course, this is for the larger scale, usually larger scale production. For the smaller scale farmers, what they've tried to do is assist them to build very simple but decent storage units within the farm, so that it reduces aflatoxin contamination, it reduces food post-harvest losses, and the food can last from one season to the next. Other measures are in place also to diversify the kind of foods that they grow, so that they won't rely on only one food crop. But of course there is room for improvement, especially for vulnerable groups in very arid parts of the country. And that is where social protection interventions need to probably play a stronger role. There is already a cash grant system and other social protection interventions that are aimed to protect them. Was it last year? Last year there was actually a sort of a dry spell that destroyed a lot of the crops in the northern parts of the country. The government took a deliberate effort to actually release food stocks to these communities to be able to support them through the period. So yes, there is still room for improvement, but we are working towards achieving food security for everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let me take the last two questions. Two hands. I recognize you at the back. Youth for Nutrition actually here in the active. They want to ask questions as well. So I see you, Raymond, and my colleague at the back. So these are the last questions. Yes, sir? Yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Jonathan Kabanguka. I'm from Rwanda. I want to comment so much about I'm one of the policies of Zambia of tackling about what we call double burden, the overnutrition and the undernutrition. I would like to, maybe if you can share some of the intervention that you do to talk about those, about that issue, but over and other things about, maybe this one goes direct to the Sun movement in general. I think this is a kind of maybe advice, or we need to do more research, like relating nutrition interventions which are related to environmental related impacts. Most of the interventions that we do in our African countries, they are like general, like we have the one intervention that deals in the whole country, but we need to relate in the region. But one region is having maybe a lot of drought, another region is having another issue, so we need to deal with the intervention that goes direct with different regions, with different environment impacts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful question. May I have Raymond? Keep it short and succinct, please. Raymond, he's here. Raise your hand so they can see you.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Ifanyo Fodo Raymond from Nigeria. So I just wanted to ask, are there modalities and frameworks to include youths, because I'm part of a Youth for Nutrition network. And in Nigeria, we're looking at how we can include youths in the local government structure, state government structure, and federal government structure, to see youth as advocates for this, so that any policy, any framework put out there, the youth can carry on to advocate around it, and also, bring out innovative tools for effective implementation. So are there any frameworks in your country that you are ensuring to make sure that youths are heard and youths are included? Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Last question goes to Mr. Osman, Sun Youth Champion as well.
Okay, thank you. My name is Usman Wedlawo, Youth for Nutrition, Burkina Faso. I want to ask a question for the three countries. Before to ask a question, I want to mention I participated at the ZICA KCC training on nutrition improvement in 2019. I want to tell them arigato, thank you. My question, thank you for the nice experience according to nutrition governance. My question, in this the three countries, I want to know is evaluation. Some country make evaluation of nutrition governance in the 3 countries, because we make the same exercise in our country, and I identified some key question to treat, to action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, panelists.
Okay, so I'll start from the last question. Specifically for Ghana, no, we haven't had an evaluation on nutrition governance. We did have, at the time, UN REACH. I'm sure some of us will remember the early days of SUN. They did do some, I wouldn't call it an evaluation per se, but it was more like a study to assess what would be the best structures. So they looked at the existing structures and tried to propose the best structures to enhance coordination of nutrition in Ghana. For some reason, that report was never made public. So officially, no, I don't think I can say we've had any evaluation. I believe the very first question there was more recommendations, right? So I don't need to respond to that. On the issue of youth involvement, to Mr. Raymond, that is a very, very important issue. From the very beginning, youth have always been involved. So as part of our multi-sectoral platform, we invite both the Ministry of Youth and the agency that's responsible for implementing youth programs in Ghana, known as the National Youth Authority. And just to highlight how important we feel this is, this past year, even though we've developed a planning toolkit for to assist sectors to plan for nutrition, AGRA supported us to also prepare a specific toolkit for youth in agriculture. And this again is to support the district and sectors to plan for agriculture, but making sure we support the youth in participating in agriculture. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture also has a whole, I don't know if it's a department, but I think it's a unit, either a unit or a department called Youth in Agriculture. And again, the whole idea is to encourage youth participation in agriculture. We similarly have both governments, when both parties that dominate Ghanaian politics, almost all their initiatives are towards youth employment, and one of the key things they use is agriculture, to get youth involved in agriculture. So it's something that Ghana takes very deliberately. In fact, it's something that we most times, the beneficiaries of most of these government programs are children, vulnerable mothers, and the youth. Of course, sometimes we do understand it's a more political thing, because if you don't say these things, you won't get elected. But there are a lot of initiatives that actually go towards the youth.
Thank you. Zara?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'd like to begin with the last question. So we do have assessments that are done on nutrition, usually every 5 years, but it's not to assess the impact of the nutrition interventions themselves, but it's to assess the nutrition situation of the population, generally focusing on women and children. And as for the question of youth initiatives are very important. I think this is something that all the countries agree in. So in Sudan, we do not have, we do have 5 networks, and there is supposed to be a network that is for youth and young medium enterprises. We do not have that functioning, but in our multi-sectoral platform, we have the Ministry of Youth and Sports, because we are trying to engage youth in any way possible, not just only through sports, but through other initiatives. So what we've done previously was, in all our networks, we would engage an entrepreneur, a youth entrepreneur, to carry on the message of nutrition and agriculture. So we do have plans to move forward of what we would be doing, how we'd be using the youth, maybe through culture and media. We do have Ministry of Culture and Media. We're trying to get the youth that are, for example, having innovations in food marketing, that are having youth innovations in nutrition, as carrying nutrition as a whole, to be part of television, radio spots, to even talk in communities with health promotion, because they're very important. And then when you have these youth entrepreneurs, a lot of people would be following them. You can see through TikTok or, these social platforms. So if you see one of these really important people saying, "Oh, okay, drink this, don't drink that," then everyone will be going for it. So we are going to be utilizing youth as an important platform to deliver messages.
Yeah. There's a question on over and under nutrition. Thank you, Zara.
Yes, Thank you. So, can I attempt to answer all the three? Very short.
Very short.
I had to take notes. So, maybe let me start with the question around for the youth. Yes, so for Zambia, we are working very closely with the youth. We co-create with them, especially if it's interventions that, you know, are for them. So we'll do a number of adolescent food and nutrition assessments, and also just seeing how we incorporate all of those in our strategies and in our policies. But beyond that, also we have technical working groups that are looking at various, you know, thematic areas, including food systems, you know, and other areas as well. And we have positions for youth to sit and you know, represent other youth. And the way we select these youths is that we'll get youths that you know, coming from associations of other youth, so that they take this message or the you know, the input of, you know, their groupings, bring them to the table. Looking at the question around assessments, Zambia does assessments. We were actually helped very much by a program we're running called the Scaling Up Nutrition Learning and Evaluation. So beyond just assessing, you know, the nutrition situation, would also assess, you know, our governance and coordination to see where the weaknesses are, so that, you know, the assessment would help us, you know, in areas where we need to improve. So we've done that on an annual basis. So the latest assessment was done last year. And then now looking at the approach where we're addressing all forms of malnutrition, and, you know, the question I think was around the interventions that we are doing to address the overnutrition bit. So we have quite a number of programs as Zambia. We have developed the food-based dietary guidelines, and we're grateful to IFNA. They came in to help us develop the consumer guides to make it easier for the rural woman to know what portion sizes they should have and things like that. But also, you know, just making it as simple as possible for the communities to use. And then beyond that, with our school feeding programs, you know, we are intervening. We don't want our school feeding program to also create a crisis with, you know, overnutrition. So portion sizes, the quality of the food also matters. So we are, you know, taking that seriously. We also have the micronutrient control program. So seeing that Zambia, the micronutrient challenge is quite also not impressive, so we would conduct the food consumption and micronutrient status surveys, with the latest one being the 2024 report that helps us with, you know, the kind of interventions that we need to put in place. Beyond that, SAN is assisting us with the sugar-sweetened beverage taxation to make, you know, unhealthy beverages that are full of sugar expensive, and also just to, you know, deter the public from consuming this, because it's a problem. Every minute there's an advert of this new beverage that they'll be producing, and, you know, it's not adding any value to our nutrition efforts in the country. And then maybe lastly, I should mention that we are really promoting a healthy food environment in the country. So, you know, we have quite a number of interventions, but we're taking this seriously and just taking the whole, you know, life cycle, but also all forms of malnutrition in our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please pass the mic to Kyoko for her last intervention, because we are closing the panel now. As IFNA, please say something. Last intervention. You don't want to say something on IFNA?
We've said enough.
No, this is IFNA meeting. You don't want to say anything? Last intervention. Pardon? Okay, so thank you, panelists, for the wonderful job you have done, and thank you for also posing such wonderful questions. I would like to give them a round of applause as they walk back to their seats. They have done a fantastic job. So let me welcome Miss Eve, right? She's be the one closing today. She's coming to close the session, also reflect on what has been taking place, and also some key highlights on the next steps, Eve. Coming from SAN Movement Secretariat, and also being the regional advisor for the Francophone SAN countries. And also, I think you're also the host, Eve, because I think Rwanda falls under your portfolio, right? So please come and give us some reflections on the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, moderator. Yes, indeed, as you can see, I'm not Tendai. Tendai is my counterpart and colleague at the SAN Movement Secretariat. And Tendai supports Anglophone Africa, and I support Francophone Africa. So we thought it would be good to switch things up a bit and have a bit of a continental flavor, since I work mostly with Western and Central African countries. So I will try and be brief, because of course time is not on our side, but first of all, we would like to express our very heartfelt appreciation to the co-organizers of this session, AUDA NEPAD, of course, but also IFNA. Thank you so much for our collaboration. I would also like to thank the brilliant panelists, the speakers, and the participants for all your contributions, which I think have highlighted the critical importance of strong governance, cross-sectoral collaboration, and of course the shared accountability in tackling malnutrition in Africa. So I think that today's discussion really showcased that nutrition is not only a matter of health, we know that. It's not also only a matter of food for that matter, but also it's very much about governance, investment, and collective responsibility. And we know that when all of the stakeholders that play a role in nutrition come together and align under a common framework, then we start to see some results that are really transformative. The stories that we've heard from our son countries are really inspiring. I would like to thank Ghana, Sudan, Zambia, and of course Rwanda, as they reminded us that multi-sectoral coordination is not just a theory, it's really happening. We have legal frameworks in place, we have all of that collaboration that is happening, and we know that it is also built very much on trust and a shared purpose. And with that in mind, we know that Africa is on the right way, and that we will be able to deliver on our promises. As the Sun Movement, we are working on our next phase. We're working on a strategy that will cover the period 2026 to 2030 that we are dubbing Sun 4.0. And we will very much continue to strengthen the country-led, country-driven, and the multi-stakeholder approach, which is at the center of our mandate. And we will continue to make sure that all of the parties of nutrition, of course, the donors, the government, civil society, the businesses, but also the communities and the youth, continue to come together to drive the nutrition agendas. I would like to say that we are committing to continue working hand in hand with our partners, AUDA, NEPAD, but also the African Union Commission, IFNA, JICA, and all of the other continental, national, and regional partners. And there's another, I think, very important theme that transpired from our discussions earlier is nutrition financing. And of course, we know that Africa must strengthen the financing and domestic financing ecosystem. We can't only continue to rely on external aid. I think it came out clearly in many of the presentations. Financing is at the core of everything that we need to do and implement, but this finance space has been shrinking. And I want also to reassure the countries that we're working with that as part of Sun 4.0, this is very core to what we are suggesting to do. We will reinforce this commitment to support the Sun countries very much with that. We want to continue supporting efforts in capacity strengthening around resource mobilization. How do we institutionalize also the multi-sectoral governance in different countries, because that's the basics to go and fetch the money that is available for nutrition. We are having different initiatives coming through. My colleague Tendai was also reminding me that they're organizing a regional event in Zimbabwe where we will see the colleagues from Zambia and Ghana to discuss innovative financing. We've had the similar exercise in Senegal in June, and I think these are the type of peer-to-peer exchanges together with our partners that we will continue to try and put at the disposal of our countries. So in closing, I just want to, and again on behalf of the Sun Movement Secretariat, invite all of us to continue carry forward this spirit of collaboration. We've heard of the countries, we know that this is happening. We need to make nutrition governance not just multi-sectoral, but also multi-financed, multi-actor, and fully owned by our countries and our communities. And we can and must scale up nutrition and deliver the promises of the CAADP Kampala strategy and our aspirations of the Agenda 2063. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eve. I think the session is over. C'est fini. Asante sana for coming. Merci beaucoup. Bon voyage. Zikomo Kwambiri. Those that are going. Aragodagaimasu for Japanese, but thank you so much for coming. And see you at the plenary session, closing session for this event. Welcome.